にちは、皆さん。Ms.P です。Hello everyone, I'm Ms.P. Today I'm going to teach you integration, level 4. Actually, I'm going to teach you definite integral by using sign substitution. So, here's the problem. Integral from 0 to 1/2 of x squared over square root of 1 minus x squared dx. So, first of all, we are going to let x is equal to sine theta. That's the point, okay? So I'm going to draw the figure over here to make you guys understand. So this is right angle, right triangle, and this is theta. And this side is 1, this side is x, and this side is 1 minus x squared. So, actually sine theta is opposite over hypotenuse, which is x over 1. So, that is why x is equal to sine theta. So, okay, so we're going to take advantage of x is equal to sine theta to evaluate this one. So, next step, we are going to take a derivative of this equation, x is equal to sine theta. So, which is dx is equal to cosine theta d theta. So, next step, we want to have boundaries with respect to theta. So, lower limit to 0. When x is equal to 0, what is lower limit theta? So we're going to plug 0 into here. So 0 is equal to sine theta. So what is theta? Theta is equal to inverse sine of 0, which is 0. So theta is equal to 0 when x is equal to 0. So next, upper bound, upper limit 1/2, when x is equal to 1/2, what is upper bound theta? So 1/2 of sine theta. So theta is equal to inverse sine of 1/2, which is pi over 6. So theta is pi over 6 when x is equal to 1/2. So now we are going to replace everything. So is equal to integral boundaries now from 0 to pi over 6, 0 to pi over 6 of x squared. X squared is actually sine squared theta because x is equal to sine theta. So sine squared theta over square root of 1 minus sine squared theta. So how about dx? Dx is cosine theta d theta. So we're going to multiply cosine theta d theta. So next point, we want to change 1 minus sine squared theta to cosine squared theta because we want to take away square root and we want to cancel cosine theta. And also 1 minus sine squared theta is cosine squared theta because sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta is equal to 1. So let's do is equal to integral from 0 to pi over 6 of sine squared theta over square root of cosine squared theta times cosine theta d theta. So now we're gonna check. We wanna check cosine theta is positive. So the domain theta is actually from 0 to pi over 6, right? So with respect to this domain, so cosine theta is always positive, right? So, and that's why we can take our square root, and the square root of cosine squared theta will be cosine theta. So let's do is equal to integral from 0 to pi over 6 of sine squared theta over cosine theta times cosine theta d theta. So now we can cancel cosine theta, right? And then left over is sine squared theta. So we have the next one. We have to use half angle formula because it's going to be easy to calculate. So let's change sine squared theta to 1 minus cosine 2 theta all over 2. So we're going to change sine squared theta to 1 minus cosine 2 theta all over 2 because calculation is going to be easy. So let's do is equal to integral from 0 to pi over 6 of 1 minus cosine 2 theta all over 2 d theta. So, and the next step to make calculation easy, we wanna 1/2 in front of integral. So let's do is equal to 1/2 integral from 0 to pi over 6 of parentheses 1 minus cosine 2 theta parentheses d theta. So now we're going to compute the antiderivative. So we're going to move over here. Let's go over here. Is equal to 1/2. 1/2 parentheses integral of 1 is theta. So integral of negative cosine 2 theta is negative sine 2 theta over 2 parentheses, and the boundaries are from 0 to pi over 6. So next step, we're going to plug pi over 6 into theta. So let's do is equal to 1/2 and open bracket and parentheses. We're going to plug pi over 6 into theta. Pi over 6 minus sine 2 times pi over 6 is sine pi over 3. So, which is square root of 3/2 and divided by 2. This 2, okay? So, parentheses. And next one, we're going to subtract the value of this expression where theta is equal to 0. So we're going to subtract parentheses. We're going to plug 0 into theta 0 minus sine 2 times 0 is sine 0. Sine 0 is actually 0, so it's 0. Parentheses and close bracket. And then these are all zeros, so we're going to organize over here is equal to 1/2 parentheses pi over 6 minus square root of 3/4 parentheses. So now we're going to multiply by 1/2 is equal to 1/2 times pi over 6 is pi over 12, and then 1/2 times negative square root of 3/4 is negative square root of 3/8. So that's it. This is the answer. Pi over 12 minus square root of 3/8. So, how was today's lesson? I hope today's lesson was very helpful. So, this coming Wednesday, we're going to have Christmas. So, we're going to take a break for Christmas. And then next lesson will be next Monday. Okay? Next Monday. So, have a very Merry Christmas. Bye!